can demand that people love and celebrate us.
What we are processing today is pain that is felt across many of our communities.
The ongoing discrimination against Asian Americans has been a constant struggle, a tug of war between acceptance and exclusion. But it's nothing new for the Asian American community. Although discrimination towards Asian Americans had persisted throughout centuries, suppressing their influence, it wasn't until the COVID-19 pandemic where it had been amplified. With the virus originating in China, former US President Donald Trump openly scapegoated China for the pandemic.
Some people call it the Chinese flu, the China flu, Kung flu, yeah.
Igniting an endless attack on Asian Americans, especially upon the elderly. With over 3,700 Asian hate attacks reported in the past year, the Asian American community has had enough. At the Love Our Communities rally in Little Tokyo, Los Angeles, many have come out to condemn acts of racism, which takes solidarity.
However, we can't do this alone. We call on all communities, white, African American, Latino, Native American, LGBTQ, everyone to stand with us, to speak up, to say something.
Standing within the crowd, I could sense their pain, their anger.
I've been pissed for the entire fucking pandemic because our community has left to suffer.
Most importantly, they're breaking the silence.
They're hurting a community who was taught to be complicit, who was taught to be silent. It's important to show them that we're not going to take it anymore.
Eddie Zhang acknowledges that unity transpired because of the violence.
It's very difficult to have a united front. However, because of the issue of harming our elders and our women and those type of attacks, it outrages people. And when people are outraged, people want to take action.
Although many prominent attacks happened outside of LA, I wanted to know if there is a sense of fear. Chinatown Central Plaza, the heart of Chinese American culture in LA. From what I have heard, locals have told me that they have not experienced any forms of racial attacks, but they are well aware of the dangers.
Well, it's only fear because it's happening to other people. Luckily, it hasn't happened to us.
What is your reaction when you see these videos of the Asian American elderly being pushed or attacked? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's wrong. If we shouldn't be doing those things. It's called racist. People that are prejudiced or people that are racist and they just go down knocking down people. Somebody should knock them down. And the only one I think could knock them down would be the police. That's what when I talk with my wife, we can talk all day long, but we're not going to get out and do anything about it because we just get beat up ourselves.
The question of whether the police can protect the Asian American community is one that has been brought to scrutiny. Although the LAPD has said in a statement that they vowed to deepen their relationship with the AAPI community, many are hesitant to trust the police.
Living in LA, just calling the police does not solve problems in the way that you would assume and we've been brought up to believe. There's been situations where we've been involved where domestic violence issues have come up on the street or other things where the police either won't show up at all or they don't care.
Even with the violent attacks, support for the police is at odds.
Don't you fucking dare use our community tragedies to fund the police.
If it's not the police, what's the solution? Ultimately, it comes down to having an inclusive community effort and staying educated.
We need to invest in ethnic studies, right, to really understand that we have to humanize each other because we have more in common than differences. I would encourage people to really have this mindset of we need to get to know people. We need to get to know each other's culture, right, and history, so that we can come together to fight for our collective liberation.
I think there's an issue where ultimately there's a lot of just, oh, that's someone else, they're racist, it's not my problem. And I think that change needs to happen now. It should have happened a long time ago. And ultimately it's listening, it's telling people to do, like basically calling things out when they happen and not being complicit and not being silent.
Foxia Zhui, who works in Chinatown, understands the significance of listening, especially as a black man in America.
I want to take that empathy that I hope people feel for me and share that with others who are outside of my community, because that's the only way America will evolve into what the promise is.
The promise for a united nation. The promise for healing. The promise to stop Asian hate.
Show me what community looks like! Show me